and then I can.
All right, so we're talking about how to start designing on a site, right? And this site happens to have some slope, and you're
Yeah.
concerned about how to start and so forth and so on. All right, so it's not only a Kelly problem, it's a universal problem. How do we start designing this thing on this particular site?
Yeah.
I personally just set some rules for myself. The rule number one is, you know, like the rules could be like, well, what's the most accessible point? And I'm gonna start designing that accessible point, and then I'm gonna go from there. And maybe my
Yeah.
building starts at that accessible point at a level where my grandmother can go on a wheelchair. I always
Yeah.
use my grandmother, although my grandmother can walk, and people don't know that. But I always use my grandmother in every zoning and every planning and everything.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks my grandmother's handicapped at this point, but she's not. So at least know one of them, right? One of them
Yeah.
is not handicapped. So that's it. And I said, well, you know what? This is the most activating element. I'm going to start designing there, and then I'll go up as needed because or because I don't want to be cutting into the site too much. I'll probably
Mhm.
there's going to be multiple levels and things like that. That's one thing. So you can either start at one point and start designing from there. One that will be really useful for you, and I mentioned the subject or concept a few minutes ago, is the concept of average grade.
Mhm.
So I have this site that's got all these different points. It's not perfect, right? Like it's not perfect, right? So, but I do understand human beings walk on flat, 1%, 2%,
Yeah.
0% surfaces, right? So we don't want to be walking on these platforms that are like skewed and people can't,
Yeah.
we're not climbing, we're not monkeys here, okay? So I find the average grade. And the average grade, there are a couple of ways of going about it. A site has an average grade, is adding up all of the points from zero up or negative down, adding all of those points and dividing them by the amount of points. It really is like doing the average of anything, right?
Yeah.
Like what's your average salary? Like today I made $10, tomorrow I made $5, the next day I made $3. Well, you do 3 plus 5 plus 2 or whatever, divided by
Yeah.
3, and it gives you the average, right? So you can find the average grade of your particular site. Now, in this case, you're like, well, I was given this thing. I don't have a surveyor that's giving me topo. I don't know how to do this, right? But you could generate a topo with intervals of 1 feet apart or 2 feet apart from each
Yeah.
other. And you can kind of figure out what the average grade is by generally finding the lowest point, the highest point, and the point
Yeah.
in the middle and dividing it by 3. And you find the average grade. And you can then say, I'm going to set my elevation at this particular level.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I tell people here at Flow Design Architects all the time is, well, sometimes we're designing buildings and the slope is very drastic. And there are a couple of things that we could do when we're doing that is set up some rules again. Rule number one is wood should not be in any contact with dirt at all times. So if you're designing out of wood, you know that your wood cannot be in touch with concrete. I mean, with the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to be 6 or 8 inches away from that. So you're gonna say, well, the highest elevation, I'm gonna go 6 inches above, and then I'm gonna start setting my wood platforms right on top of that, and then I go straight to the site.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is that if you have a drop of 10 feet, you're gonna have over 10 feet or 10 feet or so foundation exposed on the other side. It's going to look really horrible, a bunch of concrete. So we do something called stepping foundation, where we go find 6 inches, we go find 6 inches, we go find 6 inches, so that we always have a no less than 6 inches away from dirt platform. And that's going to look like wood all around with that 6-inch kind of exposure of concrete, right? So that's another rule. In this particular case, Kelly, and I don't want to, because this is not a class on how to find top of foundation. This is a class of how do I start? Well, set up your own rules. Like, what is your rule? Do you want the most of your building to be? It does determine how the building looks too, Kelly. Like, if you, are you gonna have a basement? It's not gonna have a basement. I know in architecture school we don't talk like that, but are you gonna have a lower level, upper level, mid level? How many levels are you gonna have? This sculpture thing that you created is pretty sexy looking and interesting looking. I have no idea how you inhabit that thing, how you get up there. Oftentimes, and even I personally did this a lot, I would just show like an escalator and some elevator and be done with it. But like, But like, if you look up work from Oscar Niemeyer's and other architects, you're like, dude, like ramps and even for instance, Le Corbusier, they're like ramps and circulation elements are really, they could be an experience. You don't want them to be an afterthought. They could all be an experience, you know? So how do you get in there? So you just have to find, and how does it look? And what's the maximum height by zoning too? I mean, we got to respect zoning regulations. So when you do the average grade is going to determine, because it's the highest point from average grade is how you determine the height. Okay. So you pick, you figure out average grade, set that point and go up. And that's your, the maximum allowable by zoning. Now, remember, zoning is restricted, but also building code is restricted. So you got to find the most restricted out of the two, and that's as high as you're going to go. You can't go higher than the most restricted out of the two. Like if zoning allows you to go 100 feet, but your building is made out of wood and wood cannot go over, 5 stories or whatever, you're not going to be able to do it, right? Yeah. So I know that's kind of convoluted stuff, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think some of the parameters are that like it's about 4,000 square feet in total, the building, like all the programmatic space added up is about 4,000 square feet. So that's actually kind of what I was trying to get. I turned that off. What I was trying, oh no, not this one. I'm surprised my computer's running so well. That's like kind of what I was trying to get here, because that's about like.
So this is your program right here, like in a box, literally, right? Like,
okay. I'll probably like play with the shapes a little bit. I just made them the same ratio as the site because it seemed fun to like kind of follow that logic. But so if that's the whole site, yeah, I'm only occupying like a third of it. And it probably only goes up, like I have here, probably goes up, it's probably only a story or two, with maybe the second story being kind of exposed or something and being like an outdoor area or gardens or something.
As a designer, my kind of peak as a student, but also in life as a designer, was at the point in which I was able to grab from programmatic elements as volumes of the size and shape and proportion that I needed them to be for the spaces that they needed to inhabit. And I played with them, stacked them in ways that related to site conditions, space need and adjacency conditions, programmatic, but also code-related conditions, energy conditions, and grabbing that sort of envelope and basically then saying, well, how do I skin this thing now, right? Like after I know the program works, how do I skin it? And one thing I noticed is that this is exactly how Mr. Frank Gehry does it. This is exactly how Björk Ingold does it. This is exactly how the Seattle Public Library was generated with OMA, and I'm like, well, I have my technique for how to do buildings, it's like it really grabbing those simple boxes and volumes, playing with them in the way that you want them to be, and then infusing into them the most responsible solution to that envelope, to that context, to those needs, to that feeling and emotion you want to, emanate. So, and this is great that you're doing that, and you're putting it right in the middle. Makes sense too. You wouldn't, unless you wanted it to be closer to a neighbor building or closer to an access. Right in the middle seems to be reasonable. Now you got to think about parking. How do you park there? Where do you put those things? I know this is studio, and you probably don't care about some of those things, but those things are what makes design even like amazing, like how the whole thing works. So I'm glad you're doing those things. Now it's up to you to figure that out. Like how, I actually sometimes, as part of my design methods, Kelly, I actually make those volumes in either 3D printers or by like almost like massings. And I literally start looking at the language I want to apply to it. In your case, is very, very much fabric-like, right? Fishy-like or scale-like. And I would actually, and I start, you know what I did? I would start skinning it live. Like I would actually print those things, put it how I want them. And I was like go and skin it and then be like, okay, this radius looks good to me. And I would literally grab a little piece of like anything I could find, and I would like find like, okay, that radius is 3 feet, in this thing. I don't know the scale, but whatever, it's 3 feet. That curve, and I'm like, oh, I want that curve, and I will hold it, and I would put it on top of a paper, and I would trace on it, and I would literally scan that trace, bring it into Rhino, and say like, these are the proportions I want this to do, because you don't want the software to control it. You want your brain, your hand. You want to be the author of this thing, the author of how it happens. Because what I saw in those, you're talking about a language right there, like a language of movement, but you have zero control out of how the heck this shape came about.
Yeah.
Like the shape you have is like completely unrelated whatsoever to your program needs and everything. It's just a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think to tie it all together, the where to start question is just like this recurring question. Like I still don't just know what way is the most efficient to start.
Set rules and follow them, and don't violate them. You gotta set rules for yourself.
But I think like most importantly, because I just don't know how much time you have, like figuring out how to create these walls that give me a little more control is like the most important like next step for me. Like I until I know how to do that, I'm kind of stuck.
So in my opinion, you need to go back to how you want those programmatic elements to be laid out on your site.
Yeah.
Right.
Which so my
but one thing, Kelly, sorry to interrupt you. You may actually, because this, we've always been this is a historically strong dichotomy of form follows function, function follows form discussion, right? So, but the program's got to work, right? Like if the problem doesn't work, then this thing is chaos, right? Like the program's got to work. So figure out how you're going to lay out your program. And maybe you are influenced by your architectural experience into how you want to lay out the program. What do I mean by that? This shape that you've created elongates itself through the site in a very poetic and interesting way, and it creates an icon. But right now, you've sandwiched your program all together in that way. Why does it have to be like that? Why, couldn't it be that one of those volumes has a bridge that connects it to the other volume and elongates through it, and this shape gets thinner and then amplifies itself into this other one? Couldn't it be that some of these smaller volumes, maybe this shape also, I don't know, it could have tentacles, like a freaking, octopus, right? Like, you're right. So you could actually break it into, but you need to figure out what you want this program to do as it relates to your shape.
Well, I think so. That was
because you can get very excited with the shape, and then the program doesn't work. Or you can get very excited with the program and not know. Although I would argue that having the program laid out correctly for you, what you believe is correct, is much more important than the shape at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I kind of lost my train of thought. That was the third thing I was going to say is the program I still need to play with, and like figure out. However, like once I have that figured out, I still don't know how to create that curve. So what I was kind of hoping you could help me with is just showing me how to do that once I get to that step. And it's not like
I got it.
What I'm gonna do next.
I think you're telling me I'm stuck in not knowing how to control the skin. Tell me how to control the skin, and I'll worry about the program, because that part is easy for me, right? Like that part I'm gonna work on. Okay, I got it. So I'll tell you right now how you can control the skin. So any element in Rhino, go back to the skin. Now I'm gonna call it the skin, the envelope. So any element in Rhino, you could actually add points to it. Okay, and it has points. It has corners. It has points, right? So this particular.
One more just thing. This is a mesh, and a few people that I've talked to have said that maybe it should be a surface.
I've always argued that surfaces are better than anything else.
Yeah. So I like. So
even Grasshopper likes surfaces better than the meshes.
That's how basic like my knowledge is. Like I didn't even know that I created it as a mesh. So it'd be nice to be able to know how to.
I think I showed you that you can convert mesh to surface. Mesh to surface. Remember we did that?
Yeah. I'm not remembering the command now.
But I think we did. It was like converting the mesh into a
Yeah.
surface. Set mesh surface. No. So, but it was something called like mesh to surface.
Yeah.
Maybe it's mesh to nerve, but
Well, okay. So to go to the thing
look, I created a poly surface now.
okay.
I'm moving it up just to see. I did that when I did the mesh to nerve.
Yeah, mesh to nerves. Yeah.
But I guess another way to do the well, let's go back to this. All right, so a couple points. So one, yes, we want this to be a surface. Okay, right now it's a poly surface. I don't even like it as a poly surface. So how do we create a surface? You can do the dupe edge and find the bottom. Oh, it's multiple bottoms.
Yeah, like I kind of feel like it might be easier to
hold on, because we could do a sweep. Because we do a sweep. Okay. Oh, this thing is just too many lines. Okay. I don't like it.
I know that. Well, I've been kind of thinking I start like clean. That's why, hence my like, well, how do I start question.
Ah, got it.
Because I haven't wanted to keep working in this. I feel it's like it's kind of a little.
Well, sometimes exploring and messing with things is how you really discover what you wanted to do. Like, in fact, most of the most remarkable things in my life, I just really started messing with something and messing with something and messing with something.
Totally. Yeah. I've now talked to so many people that are mad that it's a mesh that I don't want. Like, I just want to learn how to use a surface because it seems like that's what everybody.
No, but you already created this thing. You know, I made a poly surface out of it. I'm gonna go up, I don't know, 100 feet into the sky. One thing I showed you before is that you can project, you can intersect something into something else. That sounds weird, but surface. I'm always so used to my own like way of showing things. I don't know. I'm gonna do a rectangle. I'm gonna call this planar surface, and I'm gonna create this surface thing. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to generally make sure that it intersects it, and I'm gonna say intersect curve. I always like to erase the things that I leave behind. Intersect objects to intersect you and you. Go. And it should have generated some sort of line.
I probably have the lines for the old curve.
I don't know why I can't see it. You and you.
I do have the lines for the original curves.
That's weird. Oh. Yeah, that's stupid problem. I'm sorry. I drew my plane and it's really far away from the other thing. Typical rookie problem. So let me just find the endpoint and just make sure that they connect in here in some shape or form. And then I'm gonna move it forward. Just bear with me. I know you may have the original lines. I understand. Let me just.
Well, not even that. I just like I'm like.
Just indulge me on this one, please. Okay. So intersect.
Well, may I ask how much time you have? Because I just don't want to run out of time with you and not be able to do the critical thing I want to learn to do.
All right, so that's that. You're gonna learn the critical thing with me. Don't worry about it. So we got that path. So that's good. So now we just need to generate this path, and we can do a 2-rail or 1-rail.
But so I don't want those curves. But okay. I'll let
I think I got it. I got it. I'm gonna go back. Forget about it. It's okay. I was just trying to tell you that if you like this curve, we can work with them. So tell me what kind of shape you want to do. What are you interested in?
Like I don't even know the shape yet. I just want to learn how to control a surface in a way that I can create organic folds. Because right now, I don't know how to turn on enough points. I don't know how to control, like every time I try controlling points, it ends up looking really geometric rather than soft. Um, so any of that would be great.
So the tools you want to be able to play with are the ones I was trying to show you.
Okay.
Um, if you want to have a path and you want to have a curve that follows the path, you need to have a rail and you need to have a curve and you need to create that curve in whichever shape that resonates with you. That was one of the first kind of rules I wanted to show you. So like whatever shape you want to follow,
Yeah.
I don't care what this thing. Uh, you need to also play with our friend tool that I mentioned to you before, which is the seaplane. To whatever object you want, so that way you can draw things that have a relationship, and then you can say sweep one rail. So select rail, select rail, and now select sweep the profile, and then enter, and then go, and then you can move that shape. Now you're like, well, that's geometric in one direction. I mean, that's curvilinear in one direction, it's flat on the other, but that's one start. Then you can then go and say sole point on, and you can say, well, what if I want this side to be shorter and this side to be taller? Okay, well, we're starting to manipulate that shape now, right? You just got to create rules about it. Like, what kind of rules? What do you want to do with this?
What was that command?
That's called sole point, and this is being recorded for quality assurance. All right, and he turns those corners on. You're like, well, it only has 4 points. Well, you want to add points? You can add points to it. I can show you how to add points to it. That's kind of what I'm doing right now is exactly what I wanted to show you, but with an existing surface that you had, so that you work with something that you already created yourself and how you manipulate it. Because I'm creating this random thing that has no use to you.
But I think the reason I pause you is because I am going to start over. Like, I don't want,
Got it.
This design is not going to go any farther.
I understand. So the sweep with the rail, with the profile resonates with you. The sole point tool resonates with you so far. Are we on track?
Yeah.
What other kinds of things? You want to be able to control the face of this particular surface? Like, okay, you control the edge, cool. You control the beginning and the end, cool. But what if I want to pull this fat belly right here, right? You want to be able to, okay. So that's called add points. You got to add points to it. Let me see how I do that. Points. There's a way of adding points to these things.
I know F10 turns on points, but that probably doesn't add points.
Yeah, I was F10. Maybe it's the sole point on, but if I want to add points to their particular surface, that's another story. By the way, I like exploding these things. This is a poly surface, and I don't like it. Like the whole, maybe I just wanted one of these faces, right? Like, I don't care about the other ones. Whatever, bye. I don't care about you. But I like working with this nice tensile shape that you can start messing with. Okay, so I literally think it's add points. Let me see. I think it's called that. Insert point, insert, edit.
Insert control point, maybe?
Yeah, this is good. Select curve to edit point intersections.
Insert.
No.
Google says there's a command called insert control point or rebuild.
Remove control point, insert control point. That's good. Messy. Oh yeah, we're talking. So now it's trying to figure out where to do it, but this is weird. All right, so let's see. I guess it's like outside of it that it wants to do it.
And then there's something called rebuild too that we could try.
Let's see. Speak near. Okay, so you can start adding points along this shape. Oop. Let's see. Soul point. I can't see the point.
Oh,
Yeah, it didn't add it. For some reason, it didn't add it. So remove control point, insert control point, extract polygon. Well, it's been so long since I did this thing with points.
well, the rebuild command. Oh, rebuild command increases number of control points.
All right, let's try it. We're working together on this one. Rebuild. I
Oh yeah,
guess.
okay.
I
And
guess
this is
so.
this always throws me off because I don't know how, like, I don't know how to put in the parameters I need.
Neither do I. I mean, I do, but I don't. I literally just do the preview and like start messing with it and do the preview
Rebuild.
and
Okay.
see what it does, and do the preview, you know, then do the preview on this one and do the preview on this one. This it's very uncontrollable. I mean, so point. Yeah, it still doesn't have this. I mean, rebuilt it, but it didn't really. What did you do something?
Yeah, that was F10.
Oh, I like it.
But the thing, so this is
You're
what I was kind
hold
of.
on, you're onto something here because you can start. Oh, you can start moving this guy. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So just I can just admit. Oh yeah, that would
Oh,
be.
that's beautiful. All right, so the F10, it's going to be the reveal and the F10 are your to go tool. Okay, I don't know what an F10 means, by the way, but they're your to go tool because the reveal allowed you to dissect this surface into multiple
Yeah.
vertices, right? Into multiple control points. Um, and and moving this thing. Oh, this is gorgeous.
Can you move like the top?
Oh yeah, you can move any point. Like you can
Can
just
you move like
grab this
yeah, move
one.
like half of them because what I struggled with
Look
in
at
the
that.
yeah, it looks cool. What
Look
I
at
struggled
that.
with in the past is like as I moved them, but this actually doesn't look like it's doing it. When I
No,
move,
they're not orthogonal. They're actually curvilinear. Is that what you
yeah,
had problems with? Yeah, I
yeah.
understand. Yeah.
But so you think rebuild and F10 allow it will just keep them curvy linear.
Curvilinear. Yeah, but remember I started with this type of rail thing that was already curved too, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So this is awesome. I like this thing
Yeah, so
because
that's what
you could just move points in the middle if you wanted this thing to have like a belly or something, like to like
oh
oh
that's
yeah.
that's what I need.
Oh, this is sexy. This is
That's
sexy.
totally what I need. Okay.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I like it. I like it. I like it. So, you only have to wait until 30 minutes into this video to watch this part, but okay. Uh,
No, I don't know. This program's just so crazy. It's
it
hard
is
to
the best thing
yeah.
ever, ever. I mean, I love Rhino. If I could use Rhino every single day of my life, I would just love it forever, forever.
Yeah.
Now, Kelly, I think you got what you need from me. Do you need anything else right now? I think you can start messing with this thing. So F10, right? You
Yeah.
to go is F10 and the rail, the sweep, the reveal. Now you know how
Uh-huh.
to use reveal. That's pretty cool. There is another one though, but I don't know why it didn't happen. About the one about like um how to add control points. You can
Yeah.
add control points in the, but I think this one worked out pretty well.
Yeah. I think 20. So like Yeah, I think I probably can figure it out. I was just gonna try to do it on this just to see if it goes haywire or works the same way before I
No, no, no. Just give it
upload.
a shot. Try it out, and you know what? Email me if you think that you're stuck on something. I will be
Okay.
here late today, and I'm gonna be here tomorrow night too. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
So
That would be
I'll
great.
be here, but like if you really need me, you just hey Darwin, can you see me now? And if I'll join us soon. That's fine. I'll just be
Okay.
typing contracts and doing things.
Okay.
All
And
right.
then and tomorrow it's okay to do that tomorrow night too.
Yeah, 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 that's fine.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Great. Thank you, Darwin. Yeah, I'll start fiddling with this and I'll send you the results
Go
and
for it.
or questions.
Have fun, mess with it, break it, but start making this program real. Start putting it where you want. If you
Yeah.
want, Kelly, really do a hybrid of like a sketch by hand of how you want, because this thing, that software starts owning your thought process. You don't want that to
Yeah.
be the case.
Well,
Start sketch.
that's why I did this.
You see now what I do, I print that or put it on the side, and I'm looking at it like how close to that
Yeah.
is it? What did I do? Did I do an arch this way?
Yeah.
And you can literally, I mean, this is just me. Do a face that's rectangular,
Yeah.
right? A straight face.
Yeah.
Add control points to it, and then start pulling it. Cut it. You can cut the shape with the shape that you want using some sort of curve, and split it, and then you start pulling it and working with it. And the same way that you build it in the software is the same guidance you're going to be able to give contractors in the future if you're building it. Like, look, the way I did this was you cut this piece, you do this piece, and it's going to help them. Okay. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll see you in the next one, boss. Take it easy, Kelly. Thank you. Bye
Thanks
bye.
so much, Darwin.